But I kind of like 8 miled that. I was like, even if I give it up, I'm gonna come back and remember, no, I want to be a boxer. But never. Now I'm like, no, I'm gonna do that. Look, I'm
Was
too
that
old
was
now.
that your dream as a kid for real? Like you wanted to be a fighter?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, boxer. I was inspired by Muhammad Ali,
Mm.
and um, yeah, bro. I really like Die Hard. I was like, even if I give up on it, no, I'm gonna come back. Like, I know I'm gonna give up on it, but then I'm gonna come back. But maybe I will. Who knows? But with boxing, because my thing was, I was like 17, 18 when I first like really wanted to become a boxer, and at that time I thought I was too late. I was like, it's too late, bro. Like Muhammad Ali or like these big guys, they started when they were like 12, 13. Uh, but MMA is not like that. People start very late. I feel like they start like
Yeah.
21 and they're fine.
Isn't that interesting that you said that? Because I remember also like at 17, 18, there was things that I was interested in. And I had this fear like, man, I'm too late already. But now when you're in your 20s, you look back and you're like, what sort of thinking was that? Because actually, that's a perfect time to start. You're not late at all. That's like a beautiful beginning.
Yeah, like from your perspective now, you think you were early, but from your perspective then, you thought you were late. So
Yeah.
it's all about perception, I guess, really,
Yeah.
because yeah, because people become boxers or whatever. Like boxing's to do with your health, so obviously age matters. Um, but also with fighting, CTE or the thing that you get when you get a lot of head punches, like Muhammad Ali didn't turn out the best.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a trade-off. So I think
Yeah, I
I'm
guess
not
that's the
missing
price you got to pay to be in that ring, eh?
it. Yeah, but it's I don't know. I think it was a very hard thing, becoming like having the doing the training and taking punches. Like everyone can say they want to become it, but then like it's so much harder. Like getting abs and stuff, probably not. Like you could like eating this and that, but fighting, bro, the mental the mental that you have to get into also. Like imagine night before a fight. Like how would you feel? Like the anxiety the night before like a big fight. I feel like I couldn't like it would be a very hard thing to take, bro. Like that was something that I thought about also. Like I would
Which is
imagine myself
interesting
like
because when
that.
you see somebody like Habib and his absolute stoicism, you know, in the events leading up to the fight, just very calm, serious, even when he's like walking into the ring, it's like, damn, how does he pull that off? Because a lot of fighters I'm used to seeing like kind of, macho and they have to like be the King Kong and stuff to kind of get that energy grooving. And you could relate to that, right? Like you want to hype
Yeah,
yourself up before a big moment. But then to have that absolute stoicism or just seriousness, or even like Muhammad Ali, the playfulness before
yeah.
going into that ring, or even being in that ring, very playful. It's like, damn,
I
that
think
really
because
does
Khabib
require
started
something.
when he was like 6. I think that gives him the confidence. He was like wrestling bears at 6. I
We
think
were just talking about that at dinner today. Yeah. With the Bears. Yeah.
uh, like if you've like outdone, like it's really that shows you how confident he is, because he is a stoic person. Like he believes in God, but he also believes in himself as well at the same time. And it's like he's not bragging at all. He's just kind of like saying the truth. Even when he's like trash talking, it's kind of like he has to say it. Like he's like, I just have to say that. He says it like, you guys know this. You already know this. Like he's not trying to like. Whereas like other fighters, kind of like they're trying to tell themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, could you give an
And
example of that? I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
like maybe Conor McGregor, all these guys, like you said, right? Like being the macho man, and you mentioned it too. Like that's what you would want to do to kind of like to yourself, right? Give yourself the confidence. But with Khabib, it's the opposite. It's kind of like he has the confidence, and like when he does trash talk or when he does speak, um, it's kind of like he's just telling it like it is. You know, he's not like he already has the confidence built up from what he did like since he was a young kid. Like his record unbeaten. He never got beaten in a fight, never lost a round. So it's really like he doesn't really have to tell himself, or he doesn't need that macho man thing because he has the record to fall back on.
Mm. That is true. But even still, as you mentioned, like if you are a fighter the night before, the morning of, the evening right before, how do you prepare yourself for those moments? That
The nerves,
is
man.
the nerves indeed.
You must feel so. It's either I feel like uh, people. What I would think was with fighters is they just like I saw. Was it Floyd Mayweather? He was just chilling like the night before. He's like, I try not to think about it, even though he's like this big fighter, but it affects them to a point. That's why I feel like mind games are so important, like with Conor McGregor and stuff, is all those guys they feel fear. They just I'm sure they're able to mask it very well. As just losing in front of and even fighting in front of an audience. Like if that fight happened behind, like not in front of cameras and stuff, it would be a whole different thing. But
Yeah,
in front
it's
of a
interesting you mentioned that because I was talking to this girl last week about this, where she was saying, "Hey man, in private, I think I'm just so cool. I'm just so freaking cool. But when I'm with other people, I feel like I mess up. I slip up. Even if like I'm driving with someone, I feel this unwanted pressure to like maybe impress them when I'm driving." And I was telling her, "Wow, that's so interesting." Because for me, it's the opposite. I feel like when I'm in the real world, now it's like the world is asking me, okay, show me who you really are. And now I just feel the best performance coming out in whatever it is because it's the real world. All eyes are on me now. What is it like for you? What's your performance like in front of other people versus when you're just alone?
It's different. That's cool, brother. You mentioned that because I was just watching this reel where this guy was talking about like going ghost, right? How people like uh, when they stop posting on social media, it's usually because of the fear of being perceived. And it's funny how it's kind of like the fight thing, like behind closed doors when people aren't seeing you. I'm definitely like the friend that you mentioned, right? Not having an eye on you is it's peaceful, it's definitely less pressure, but being around people, being perceived, um, I feel like predicting, like, what they're perceiving of you, or like even just thinking about that, it gets you thinking, and then that will affect, like whatever it might be, like performance, or, just maybe you having a chat or whatever. But,
Yeah.
when you start thinking, you lose focus, and focus is what is really not good for anything that you're doing. Even like when you're fighting, I used to think of that. Like, imagine you're fighting like in the cage and you get punched really well. Okay, that's something, but then the crowd cheers. I feel like that would hurt a lot more. Uh, but see, that's how it's a disadvantage. So I'm more interested in that you said that it doesn't really affect you. Like your way of thinking, I've never really heard that before. But that's cool.
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about a lot recently. And I feel like it works most of the time, but sometimes it's different. Like there's moments where I could be singing a song to myself while driving in the car, and I'm like, damn, that was amazing. And then I'm like, maybe I should record that. And then I pull out the recorder and I start like recording while I'm singing, and it's just not as fire anymore. It's like, what is that about? Because my mentality didn't shift. It's the real moment. It's me alone. I'm doing it. But I guess sometimes there is that added level of the camera's recording me or the voice recorder's recording me, and it takes something away. And I guess
Like
that's
a
why
bias.
movies are such a big deal, man, because to be able to get a performance like that out, on screen while you're being recorded, that's, I mean, it's a skill. Anything
It's
being
a
recorded or
shift in
perceived or watched.
mindset.
Yeah.
I think they turned that off, the part that I said, like, because they can take, it's artificial. They can do 50 takes of the same thing. Oh, I did a wrong take. Who cares? I'll do another one. I think that's why they're able to
Yeah, I
do it
think
so
you're onto something right there. I think that's what it is when I'm like singing a song and with the thing, because it's because there's this ability to have so many takes, even though you want it to be really good, maybe it just naturally slips off because you're thinking there's more
well.
takes.
Exactly.
There's more
And
takes.
when you're thinking, you lose focus, and then you slip up, and that's exactly how it works. And I guess in everything, even fighters, right? They do it before, like in practice, when they're practicing, when there's no cameras. So I guess when they're in front of people, but they don't practice in front of people.
Yeah.
But I guess they just don't care about that. They care more about the. I guess.
Yeah, that I haven't seen an interview with Khabib that talks about that. That'd be interesting question for him. Like, huh? How do you ignore the audience? Because the best
Yeah,
actors, the best performers, no audience exists for them. It's they block that out. They ignore that.
yeah, they're just able to do it without thinking. And you could, I guess it's more of a thing of noticing it, right? Like now that we're talking about it, the next time that we, catch ourselves thinking like that, you have your mind, you have the power to stop it. Like it's most of the times it's not knowing what you don't know, like, um, really what intelligence I feel like is, because even like having thoughts, right? We when we have thoughts, we tend to think that, oh, these are my thoughts. But if you really think about it, they're just like observe. Like thoughts are really they're things that you observe. So it's better to kind of distance yourself from them. So that way, if you have a bad thought or whatever, right, it's good to stay in the middle. Kind of went on a tangent there, but
You're
hope
good,
that makes
man.
sense.
You're good.
Uh,
Yeah, but it's definitely something to think about for sure. How we're perceived. I remember this one profile that I came across. I don't even remember who it was, but on their bio it said something like, "Do not perceive me." And I remember thinking that was kind of witty. And it's true because that's all social media is perceiving others and projecting
Perception.
fantasies of what you think someone's life is like. Like one of my favorite photos on your profile is the one when you have the coconut in your hand and you got the sunglasses and you're on the beach and like the ocean is behind you. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
loving it with the cool hairstyle. I'm like, this guy's living his best life. But I don't know anything about that trip. I don't know what the pluses were, what the minuses were the negatives, but that was like such a cool
dude.
fantasy to see in a photo, you know?
Yeah, that was the Bahamas. It was definitely it was a cruise to the Bahamas. And yeah, it's one of my favorite pictures too. Actually, I'm starting this new job, and they asked me for a picture, like your favorite picture at
Oh,
like a vacation, and I chose that one
staple
to
it
talk
on the
about.
wall. New employee of the month,
Yeah, I
right?
think that's a cool like thing that they did. Like, all the new like interns, they're gonna, I guess, talk about their favorite vacation picture. I'm
Hmm.
gonna talk about that, Bahamas. Have you been to the Bahamas or anywhere like that?
No, I haven't. But that
No.
same friend I was telling you about, oh no, actually, she liked the Maldives. Never mind. But Bahamas, they look
Maldives?
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It was on my bucket list for sure, like Bahamas. Uh, but going back to the Instagram thing, if you think about it, like back in the day when they didn't have Instagram, it'd be so crazy. Do you think they would have nos they miss out on the nostalgia like us? Like, like looking at picture. I'm sure they looked at pictures or whatever, but not other people's pictures, right? Not other people's moments. Like you were able to recall that moment of mine, but back in the day, stuff like that never happened. Like it's
Yeah.
so crazy. And um, like, seeing like your friend that you miss, you can just go on there. You can perceive them through your phone. Go on their Instagram profile or whatever. also be a bad thing, you know. Maybe you see like your crush got married or something, like, you know, that would hurt. But
True
yeah,
story, eh?
it's right. No, it's a part of like growing up, I guess, yeah. But, but yeah, back in the day, I guess it was, you think it was simpler for them.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a
we have
good
to deal with that
question.
a lot more. That's like seeing your crush get married, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good question, man. I'm not sure what it must have been like. But I was thinking yesterday, I wonder what the future of our generation will be like, where, God willing, we have grandkids and stuff, and now you can unfurl the digital scrolls of our archives and be like, oh, look at like grandpa when he was 20. Look what he was doing. And all these like
Yeah,
pictures with these captions that are probably going to be outdated by then. Like, damn,
yeah, you're gonna
maybe.
be, I mean, it could be cool or it could be like you're just unk, you know, you're, it's also nostalgia, I guess.
Yeah. I wonder if profiles will be inherited by people. Because I've known maybe two or three people now that have died and their profiles are still out there. It's like, damn, I wonder what ends up happening to the profiles of dead people. Because we're that generation, right? Where we've joined these social medias. How long will it keep going? How far? Who's going to carry on that legacy of the
Yeah,
profile?
no, it's true. Like my friend that did pass away, I do go on his profile, you know, from time to time to kind of remember him. And sometimes I go through the comments and there'll be someone like, man, I miss you, like, wish you were here, type of thing. And it's interesting, you know, stuff like that would have never happened back in the day. But yeah, at least I'm able to see, you know, pictures of him in you know, when he was alive, like good times that we had. Um, that's interesting. Profiles
Yeah.
of dead people.
I did like how you brought that up though, because anytime I take a trip, for example, I love to make a video out of it or, take a bunch of pictures. And this is my way of keeping that nostalgia, of being able to look back. But I know plenty of people that, they take trips or they do things in life and they're very minimalistic. They don't want to take pictures. They don't care to make any videos. And I look back at those people, I'm like, what happens to your memories? Because there's things I've already forgotten, but that video or those pictures absolutely saves them. But for you, you don't have any of that. And one day
Yeah.
your brain is going to turn off and you won't remember at all. Like,
Yeah.
what then?
That's a big like, you know, like fear. Like, cause my memory has in the, I feel like in the past couple years, like I've started to realize that, you know, as I'm growing older, like I'm kind of forgetting some of the memories, but then I'll remember them like out of nowhere. I guess that's how the brain works. But nostalgia can be a good and bad. Have you ever had uh like so much nostalgia, like um maybe like high school, you know, like I really love being in high school. I really miss being in high school. So, like sometimes like it really like hurts like that I can't go back, you know, when times were simpler times. Even though I'm really happy with everything, how it's going. But you know, as a human, you always want more. But it's like nostalgia to the point where it like hurt. I can only hope like in the afterlife, you know, inshallah, like in Jannah, like I'll be able to live it again. But there's no other thing that really fills that nostalgia. Being in high school, just waking up, you know, going to school, like all your friends, cool, like dapping up in the hallways. Like, have you ever had nostalgia that hurt?
Absolutely. In the past year, I really had to deal with it. I had to realize that I can't keep falling in love with the past. I can't keep getting nostalgic about it. And I finally just have to move on. And I did. I really did. And it was tough, man. It was hard because you really love the memories and, the people in those memories and the times and the experiences and the world, even how it was back then. But you just
Mm-hmm.
have to move on. But I know absolutely what you mean. The nostalgia can really, like, The past can keep you chained sometimes.
Yeah, and it's there's really no way to get like I was like started talking to old old friends this and that, but it's never the same, bro. It's like it's not like you guys are all gonna be in the same spot, like in the same school, or like and for some people, right? They they're not at the same point. Like maybe they'll have nostalgia like 6 months in the future or something. Right? We're not all nostalgic at the same time. It's
Beautiful
kind of
that you
like what,
said that. I'm going to quote
right?
you on that one. We're not all nostalgic at the same time.
Right? And I'll bring up a quote from Drake. Right? He said, I wish I could go back in life, not to change anything, but just to feel some things twice."
That's
So
also beautiful.
I do feel like that sometimes.
That's
Nostalgic in a
one of
good
the
way.
reasons I made this podcast, bro. Because I realized after meeting so many people that relationships, encounters, they're all temporary. Some last longer than others, but they're all temporary. And it's like while two people are connected, while we do cross paths, while we are friends, at least there's a place to capture that. It's like a time capsule.
Yeah.
I really wanted this one ring in 2023. I didn't get it. And then the following year, 2024, I ended up getting it. And same ring, right? But it just didn't do it for me anymore. It just like I wasn't as excited or happy about it. And so I wrote a line of poetry, and the poetry was souvenirs are about a time, not a place. And that's just kind of how everything in life is. It's about the time. It's not so much the other elements of it, at least when it comes to like
Yeah.
capturing a memory. And so, like, I think it's really interesting that you and me are doing this now because you were supposed to be one of like the first 10 guests, but now you're like episode 180. And it's like, whoa, like it took all this time. And this has been great so far, but wow, we're
I want
different
to add
people.
to that, bro. You can choose, you can control the place, but you can't control the time, right? With stuff like, but well, why didn't you want the ring after? Like it was, you just had lost the yearning for her, or like you just kind of
Well,
lost
see, it goes
the
back to
track.
the whole thing about the time. Like, I'm holding the ring right now, and I ordered it
Yeah, I
online.
saw that. I was like, I was gonna ask you, is that the ring? Let me
Yeah,
see it.
it at that time I was just really into wolves and just the symbolism involved in Viking mythology and stuff like that.
More
And
of a
then the
line guy
following
now.
year, I was just less interested. Like I wasn't as passionate about it. And so it felt like it wasn't even that right time,
You still
whatever
got
that
it.
means. I still got it, but there's another ring that I ended up buying back in 2023. And that ring, it has more memories attributed to it than this one, just because of the time that I got it in. Insane.
You can control the place, but not the time.
Yeah.
But I was, dude, I was actually like happy when you started the podcast because, like, you as a person, I feel like you really value conversation, even when like I knew you like when we met a lot in Houston. So yeah, it was cool seeing that. I feel like if there was one person that I knew to start a podcast, it would definitely be you. And I'm glad to see like how it's grown. It we couldn't control like when we got to have it, right? It would be so different. I feel like if we had it 2 years ago, the
Yeah.
podcast, I was doing very different things, but I was still in New York at the same time, and I moved to Atlanta for a year. Now I'm back in New York, and we're doing it. So I
Yeah.
guess you can control the place, not the time.
No, absolutely. It's like what you were saying earlier, that when you're 17, 18, you think you're too late, but actually, like you're right on time. That's a great time to begin or to do something. And you
Yeah,
really never know, even with age or with anything, you just really never know what the right time is for you. But um, I specifically remember the last time I saw you in real life, man. It
when
was
was that?
at
Was
U of
that at?
H at the student center. I was walking, you were walking, and you were holding a melting ice cream cone in your hand. And I was like, "Hey, bro, you gonna go to the MSA banquet?" You're like, oh, I'd love to, man, but I don't think so. And then like you ended up moving that summer, I think. You were gone.
Crazy. I think the one of the first times I met you was at the PSA event. Or actually, it
Oh
wasn't the
yeah.
first. It definitely wasn't the first. But I think you met my friend Basil at that
No,
time.
I
Me and
met
him
you. The
were
first
there.
time I met you was at the beach bonfire.
Yeah, yeah. I met
Yeah.
a lot of people that time at MSA, and the whole reason I got there was because Muhammad Farah had just like invited me. He was
He
just
lives
like,
in the city you're in right now. I saw him just a few
yeah,
months ago. Yeah.
yeah. It's cool, bro. It's like you know, like he lives here, and I'd just gone there to like find a place to pray, and he was just like, hey, you want to come to this thing, like. And it was so great. Like, got to meet so many people. And bro, Houston, I love Houston. Like, I moved across the world, at 16. Like, I left all my friends, everything. But in Houston, I feel like I really like felt like I found a family, and because I had family there, right? And then with friends too. But and then I moved, and everything changed. Started off fresh again, and then I kind of got settled into New York, moved to Atlanta. So, but still, Houston is where all my friends, like, I feel like my closest friends, they're all in Houston. That's why I always love Houston.
Yeah, man. H-Town. All
It's
these
down, hold
places
it
that you
down.
were living in, what community did you love the most?
Crazy. I mean, I moved for different reasons. New York, I just came here with my cousin. I loved it. Went to school, got in, got a scholarship. Like, okay, let's do it. And it was that was the first summer that I tried something new. I went out and did door to door in Nashville. I was like, I was doing another new thing. Moved to New York, and it was cool. So I moved to New York for school, moved to Atlanta, for family to live with my little brother and go to school there too. So different things, But I
Different
definitely say
things.
Houston, different things, because like Atlanta, I can't say I don't like it. I met Fawaz there. He was there for about a year,
Fawaz?
and it
Which
was
one?
Akhtar Fawaz.
He was there? What?
Yeah, bro, he lived there for a year, and it was awesome. Like we didn't get to meet up all the time, but like when
Damn,
we
I didn't
did, it
even
was
know he
awesome.
was over there. When was this?
Dude, all year last year, he moved there like
Whoa.
December, and yeah, I actually went up and set up his apartment for him.
Secrets. Oh my God. I don't know about this.
You really didn't? I think I
No.
think he did go back and forth a lot, and he's
I
in
see.
Austin now. He's back
I
in
didn't know that
Texas.
either. Wild.
What do
Wild.
you mean you did a podcast with him during that
That's what
time,
I'm
didn't you?
saying. This is all news to me.
No way. That's insane. But
Insane.
that didn't come up throughout the whole podcast. That's crazy.
Nah.
That tells you it's a good podcast. You guys
There
are
you
too
go.
focused on
There you go.
on the conversation. But yeah, bro, he was there. And see, he's another great friend from Houston. So I would say
Mm.
people wise, definitely Houston. People wise, you know, Houston. I don't know what it is about Houston. Like the people there are on a different wavelength, kind of like a different vibe.
Yeah. Texas in general is just like, it's really, it's popping, man. It's popping. But Houston, absolutely. I
Yeah,
used to not like take a whole lot of pride in being from Houston or being a Texan, but after jumping from a place or two, I realized, damn, Texas, Houston in particular is a real gem. It's a hidden gem, and I'm glad we keep it that way.
it is. It is. And when I was
Yeah.
in Houston, all I wanted to do was like, I was like, bro, I came to America and I'm in Houston. Like, what am I doing in Houston? And even though it was cool, it was super cool. Like, Travis Scott's from there. Like, all my like, I had a
Patrick
great time with
Swayze is from
family. Yeah, but I still always, for some reason, I wanted to go to like these places like New York.
yeah.
And now that I'm in New York, I feel like Houston's kind of better with the people,
Yeah.
at least. But hey,
All they need to do,
just got
man,
back here.
all they need to do is release a GTA game set in Houston, and that will change the landscape. Like everybody
Yeah,
will be coming here.
maybe that's why they've been delaying it because they
Maybe.
keep adding different places. But where is it based off of? I've never played that game. I did play it, but I never really played it like that. To even realize
Well, GTA 5 is astonishingly a very good um, virtual Los Angeles. And then like some other areas of California, depending on how far you drive out in the game. And then GTA 6, the upcoming one, is also like a fictitious Miami. And that one from the trailers actually looks pretty accurate as well. And the surrounding areas of Florida.
it. There's no copyright on these cities. Like you can just make a you can just make a Los Angeles game.
Well, I mean, the Spider-Man games have been doing New York forever. So I
Yeah,
guess like, but hey, I'm not complaining because those are really cool. It's fun. Like if you go into GTA 5 and if you've been to Los Angeles, you would be very
yeah,
impressed. You'd be like, damn, this is like Los Angeles. Maybe
yeah. I've
not
seen
like
those
every
like
single
TikToks of
detail, but
people.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
I've seen the TikToks. People are like, "Oh, I kind of know this place," and then they know like everything about it just from the game. I'm like, "Oh," but I never knew which city it was about. So, yeah, thanks for telling me.
Have you
But
been to California?
never. That's the one state I really want to go to.
That's the state to go to. I always tell people, guys, the real America, you feel that in California. Because I remember feeling that.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, this is really America. This is the America you see in the movies and the TV shows.
yeah. Have you done the highway across the coast?
I have. I have. I wrote about it
Something I want to
even
do.
in my first book. I wrote about that specifically.
Really?
Yeah, there's a part in there where like the character's driving and it's beautiful, man. It's like, whoa, it's just right there and you get to see it all. Just ocean on ocean, Pacific.
Yeah, I definitely want to definitely go there. You've been there a lot?
I wish. Been there a
No?
few times.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
That's where your cousin lives, right?
He does. But he lives like sort of in the I wouldn't call it boonies, but countryside-ish. Small town.
I've been I've been to Hawaii, and when I was there, our
You tickle some sharks?
nothing like that. But the guys there were trying to convince us to come out for a blitz in California, like basically like for 2 weeks in California. They're like, guys, it's like this there 24/7. Like, like being like Hawaii and this and that. Hawaii's definitely cool. They say Hawaii's like California, so I guess I got a taste. But I'd love
What
to go
was the best and the worst part about Hawaii in your trip?
there. That's a good question. Hawaii was kind of all good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think there was any bad parts about Hawaii, other than, uh, dude, we went on a crazy yacht. That was great. The yacht was amazing with all of my boys from Solar. We're all there on the yacht. We had a photographer with us making like clips of us for this marketing video. But that was definitely the best part, being on the boat with all the boys in Hawaii. The worst part, maybe the hotel. It wasn't actually no, the hotel was great. It was in the middle of downtown, but it wasn't like this bougie hotel or anything. It still felt like a boys trip.
I see.
But yeah, I can't
I
think
thought
of a
you were gonna
worse
say
part.
something like, "Man,
Sorry.
I didn't see Stitch," or like Godzilla didn't pull up, or something like that. But
Dude, I've never watched that movie. I've never watched Godzilla.
uh,
So, so I guess that's why. But yeah, bro, I'm sorry. There's no bad parts in Hawaii. The
well,
great.
hey, that's good news. I guess that is good news, dude.
Yeah.
Tell me about sales. What is the greatest thing that sales taught you?
I traveled a lot for sales. So I think the travel was the best for me. But I get your question isn't about that. With sales, it kind of ties into it with travel is I got to see how so many different people like think and how many different people how they live their lives. Because I was doing a very different sort of sales, going up to people's houses like when they're in their life. And the best part was like, or the best sale ever. Like, I had multiple of these was when they would treat me just like I was their family. You know, invite me into their home, give me food, and I get the sale. And like that was definitely the best part. But learning, you really get to learn like there's so much like going on in the world. Like so if you ever have a bad day or anything, you just remember, those days like when you're in sales. Like with sales, there's what we call the solar coaster. So when you're having good sales, everything in life is well. Like you're the shit. Like everyone, all your friends, like it's all going good. But when you don't have sales, it's like the bottom part of the solar coaster. So everything's like you're in the dump. You can't get a sale. Uh, you can't really do nothing. So I think what it taught me was to stay in the middle. Never don't get too high in the highs or don't get too low in the lows because eventually it will all pass. Even if you're on a winning streak, don't get too much into it because when you get a little lower, it's gonna feel really bad. And yeah, staying in the middle with that's something that I learned to do
Did you ever take anything personally in sales?
in the beginning, yeah. But you kind of get used to it after with the rejection. And I would, it's surprising. Like I still, it's not like I'm immune to rejection now. You'd think I
I feel like
was.
there's no human that is, right? No matter what your experiences are, I feel like it'll there's actually this one like news reporter. He showed up on one of the sets of F1 and he was talking to Brad Pitt, and Brad's like, he says to him, "Hey man, like you want a little cameo in the movie?" And the news reporter goes, "I'm good, Brad, thank you." And he's Brad Pitt, right? He's like one of the coolest guys ever. And I'm pretty sure he didn't take it personally, but you're kind of like, oh, this guy rejected Brad Pitt. It's like, damn, he's just another human being too. He's probably like, damn, like I offered this guy a cameo and he didn't take it. Like, damn, wild.
That dude's like what I imagine myself of being when I meet celebrities, like being nonchalant. Like I always imagine myself like going up to Drake and being super cool and nonchalant.
Talk
He's
to me
like,
about Drake, because I think I mentioned this to you back in the day when we took that road trip. I was like, man, I don't understand Drake. Like, I don't understand his fame. I don't understand his hype because so much of what I've heard personally is just so basic. What is it about Drake that attracts so many audiences?
Asic. I don't know. You don't like his song?
Like, I remember I heard this one song where he's talking about like the steak he ate and how he's like bragging to a girl about it. And yeah, it was such a good steak, yada, yada, yada. And I was like,
Was it at the
what?
Cheesecake Factory?
I don't remember what the song was, but I remember listening to the
No.
lyrics. I'm like, this is such a basic song. What's
I
going
mean, it
on
was
here?
probably like recent Drake because like Drake now has gotten so rich, like his lyrics are just like they're crazy. It's just like he's just rapping about like on a different level. Like even the rich people are like, oh shit, this is not relatable at all. But if you listen to him back in the day, like a lot of his older songs, like if you lived in 2016, dude, you've heard a Drake song.
There's this one he had with Rihanna that I heard recently, and I was like, actually, that
What
was
about
pretty
God's
cool.
Plan,
That was a good one too, come to think of it.
right?
Do you know which one I'm talking about though with Rihanna? It's called let's
There's a
see.
lot, bro, with Rihanna. It's probably I know what you're talking about. It's actually the name of the album too.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. It was
No, you've been hurt. That one, right? Someone else.
he says he has
Of
a lyric in there
course.
where he says something like, I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know. I don't know how to talk to you.
It's Take Care. Okay.
That's the one?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think that's the one. I've never heard that song
No,
that you're
you
talking
haven't?
about.
Hold
I
on,
think you've
hold
just
on.
heard you're like the one person on earth who's coincidentally heard all the bad Drake songs.
No, but here's what I'm saying. It was actually a really good song.
Really? No, he has
Yeah.
great lyricism. Like he has lyricism to a point where people accused him of having a ghostwriter for the longest. They
They
discredited
accused him of what?
having a ghostwriter, like someone
Oh, a
else writing his
ghostwriter.
lyrics for him.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, bro. Like his even his new songs, they hit. Like, have you heard "Miss You"?
I have not heard that one.
Bro,
I
you should
have to
tap in
admit,
with
I
them
haven't
runs.
heard like a whole lot of his songs. But from what I did hear, I was
Well, what's your
unimpressed.
genre?
Do you remember that one time, like I played some of the songs that I was into on that road trip,
Yeah,
and then Lath goes, "Are you okay, bro?" You know, it's just like these sad grunge songs, these rock songs. People are just like, "Ah,
they
the Doors."
man, they dude, that road trip was so perfect. It was so good, man. Like I feel like we fought, and then we made up, and then at the end, he actually put me onto one of the best like Arabic songs I've ever heard. So it made up for everything. It's and a whole genre actually he opened me up to. It's called Shela, like Saudi music,
Oh,
and everyone I don't know if you probably heard the song, but like everyone I put on, it's like they love it. And I put you on to the the song about
you put
elephants
me
or
on
whatever.
to Black Madonna by Cage the Elephant. That's a good song.
Yeah, it is, right?
I love that
And I'm
song.
sorry, bro. You hit me up about that song at one time, but I never replied to you. I think I was because with family or whatever. But
I
yeah, I
don't
love
even
that song
remember,
too.
but I
Yeah,
do love that song. Yeah, and there's just a Mexican song that sounds similar, like the beat. It's called Locos. But I remember like I was humming something like after the gym one time, and I think that might have been the time I texted you. Now that I think about it, because I do remember like thinking of that
yeah.
song randomly one time and telling you, "Hey, I remember you for that." Yeah,
Yeah, I felt like such a dick, dude, because I forgot, and I was like, "Oh, that was too late. I'm not gonna
good
be
song,
being
man.
perceived."
Good song,
Yeah,
Black Madonna.
it's so psychedelic, like different, and
Is there a
like
particular song out there where you see most of yourself in it?
no,
Hmm.
I don't think I see myself in any song. All songs are just about what you want to do, but then if you were doing the stuff that the song's talking about, you probably wouldn't feel too good.
Huh. The way I perceive
Uh,
songs is it's like poetry, and the person who writes it, right? They're writing from their own perspective, whatever they're thinking. But like a poem, three different people could read it, and they all have a very different view. And so there's one song I've been listening to a lot recently, "The Kill" by 30 Seconds to Mars. And for the longest time, I thought it was like a romantic song between a guy and a girl. And then recently I had a different take on it. I'm like, wait, this is a song about you right now and then your past self and how the past self keeps you chained. And it's a matter of breaking away from that past self and moving on. It hit me hard. And I was like, damn, that's how I
Send me the song
interpret
and
that
I'll
song
tell
now.
you what I interpret from it.
What?
Then send me the song and I'll tell you what I interpret
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah. I'll send it to you, man. The Kill by
But
30
yeah,
Seconds to Mars.
that's interesting that you mentioned that. Like breaking from your old self. I think the easiest way to do that is meeting new people, right? Because older people, they always have a perception of you, and even if you meet them after a while, right, they're like, let's say you're doing better than what they perceived of you, they're like they don't like it, you know? They're like, she's doing better than my perception of them, but or at least some people. But with new people, they don't have any perception of you, so it's always like starting from a clean slate. So
Yeah.
you can build yourself as you like.
That's another thing I've been thinking about recently is that there's certain people from your past where if you run into them, it's like it triggers something in you or it activates something. And it feels like an anomaly or a glitch because you're like, wait a second, I'm not the same person I was when I last saw you. I'm different. And so interacting with you just kind of becomes weird or foreign or different because you're not the same person anymore.
Hmm. Are they the same person?
They're not either.
They're not
I mean,
either.
everybody changes, you know what I mean? But it's still
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah.
I know your face, I know your name, I remember your voice, but this is different. We are different people. And so for a second, it's like a glitch or an anomaly, and you're not sure how to interact with that dance, so to speak. You're tiptoeing with them in conversation.
Do a lot of your like high school friends or people that you went to high school with, do a lot of them, are they still in Houston?
I feel like I don't really keep up with a whole lot of high school people in real life.
Yeah.
But I wonder what that's like for you because you went to high school in Dubai. How closely do you keep up with those people? What is it like with you and them?
Dude, Dubai is a whole different story. Like the how it works in Dubai is once you graduate, right, everyone goes to like a different remote part of the whole like the world. Like I had a friend that went to school in Ukraine and another friend that went to school in Russia. And they were both like in the same like we all went to high school together, you know. And unfortunately, the guy in Ukraine, his university got blown up, so he had to move somewhere else. But I have friends that are like they're in Australia, UK, Germany, like different parts of the world. So there's like no minute chance of ever even like all of us getting in the same spot, you know? And it's crazy, like, you know, meeting them, or I'm sure they've changed so differently to how I've changed. And I sometimes think about it, like, what if I'd gone to a different part of the world? Because I always wanted to go to somewhere in Europe, but my uncle's like, no, you're not. You're gonna come here, right here in America, you know, right here in Texas, you know, here,
You
it's a
made the
great
right
place.
decision, I think.
Yeah, and then I ran away from it. I mean, at least I was in America, but I think it was the right decision. Like even when I came here, like I was telling my aunt, I was like, nah, I don't like this. I'm gonna go live in France. She's like, and then what are you gonna do in France? And I was like, yeah, she does have a point. Don't know the language or nothing, right? And that's a very important thing. Knowing the language is super important. I know friends that have gone to like different. A lot of people go to Germany, right?
Yeah.
But it's a totally different language.
And your
And
English, by the way, is really good for not being an American, like from here. It's really good English.
I think it's because I grew up, or like I came here pretty young, right? When I was 16, and talking to my cousins and people here. I think when I came here, I sounded kind of British. That's how in the UAE they there's a very like British niche to like it's so weird. The Dubai accent is so weird. It's a mix of British and of American, like wannabe American, and like all different mixtures of how people talk. So if whenever you get the chance, search up Dubai accent. Like, there's no way you've ever heard that accent.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up actually. Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, it's very hard to keep up with people from my that I grew up with, because they're even my very close friends. Like we talk, but it's hard. Like when I have a friend, one of my best friends, he lives in New Zealand. That's like a whole different time zone. Like, actually, it's the opposite time zone. So we tried hopping on a game once and we couldn't play anything just because the servers are so bad. So yeah, it's really hard. And then if sometimes if even when you go back and you guys visit, they're very different. No one really thinks the way that I think. And I'd say they take life a lot more chill. They don't think about their career and this and that. But we all grow very differently. I'd say we're in different. Your environment really has a big impact on how you change and how you grow. So
Yeah.
it's
Another
very
thing I wanted
different
to
to
ask you
be how you.
actually, considering what you said about the environment, I feel like there's plenty of people out there that want to run away, so to speak, but they just never get around to it. What was that push for you? How do you become the globetrotter you became? How did you decide to just run away?
Bro, I don't think I really even had a choice in that, because my
Well, I
parents
mean,
had
after
decided.
Dubai, like you just left Texas. I remember that, like when I said about your melting ice cream
Yeah,
cone. You were gone after that.
The reason I moved to New York definitely was like to try something new. Just throw myself
And
out
how'd you
there.
do that, man? Like you just randomly went over there. How'd you do it?
Yeah. So I had linked with one of my not friends actually. He was a mutual of another mutual, and he told me about the college that he was going to, and he liked it. And I just applied. I really didn't think anything of it. But then I took a trip with my cousin to New York, and I loved it. I was there for just 3 days, but I loved it. And I was like, I'd love to live here, like, you know. Then I got a scholarship, and I was like, you know what? It'll be comfortable. Go back, live in UH. Have a lot, I have friends there. Um, I have a whole community there, and I think sometimes, what if I'd chosen to stay there? It would be very different, and it would have been a lot easier. Moving to New York, I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. The change, like the weather and everything, it was nothing like I imagined. And being in Houston, because Houston's very similar to Dubai. Yeah, like the weather wise, uh, really the weather. I don't think anything else is that much similar, but
Yeah, we don't have our
I
Burj
wanted,
Khalifas.
yeah, you know, you Texas is more flat, right? And everything in the UAE, it's like man-made, but in the same sense, you guys aren't that green, right? In Dubai and the UAE, everything's man-made. Like it's all buildings. It's a desert. Texas is also a desert. So I always wanted to go to somewhere that wasn't desert.
Hmm.
So came to New York, but New York's not really, lush, or it's not like gardens everywhere. But it was definitely cool. I would say when I came to America, I had the thought process of not really just doing, thinking less and doing, just kind of doing. Even I think that made me a lot less lazier than I am now. But now I get into analysis more than I used to back then. And I think
Hmm.
that's the best way of thinking. I have a friend that thinks that way. Like if like he'll think about something like for 2 seconds, and if it bugs him, he's like, you know what? I'll do it anyway, and he just gets up. You have to like snap out of
Yeah, like I love how you said that because let me tell you,
it.
with this ring, the reason I didn't get it was like too much thinking about the price and stuff like that and yada yada yada. That was it. But I paid a bigger price by waiting a year and exhausting my passion for it. I
Mm,
eventually got it. I still paid the same price, but the payoff wasn't the same because I waited too long. And that's something that bugs me about life, but that's just a part of it, where we get so focused on the analysis and we wait too long, and then the window just closes and we
yeah.
lose things, and it just happens. It's a human thing. So I feel you with that. It's more doing than it is thinking.
Oh,
What
yeah.
are your best tips for that, man? Like how do you become better at just
I don't
doing and
know,
not
man. I'm
thinking?
I'm I'm definitely working on it now because I did realize this recently. If I think about myself a couple years ago, I was definitely more of a doer than a thinker, and it's a mindset shift. I haven't got there myself, but
But you were there
I'm gonna try to be.
once.
Yeah, I
You
was
saw
there once.
Valhalla for a little bit.
You and Valhalla, brother, like Cash Patel likes to say.
He
Uh,
shocked me when he said that. I thought I was the only Desi into like Norse mythology stuff. He shocked me when he said that.
I don't know, Cash Patel. I don't think he's definitely not as Daisy as you,
I
but
would love to have him on the podcast. I feel like it'd be a wonderful conversation with him.
yeah, if Cash is out there, bro, you're next. But I don't know if he's too much into Norse mythology. It's more of a warrior ethos. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure every big guy
Yeah, but I was still so surprised when he said that. Like, damn, who like I understand me, but who
everyone
says
was,
that?
dude. Everyone.
Who
They made
says
a
that
meme out
though?
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I actually searched it up. I was like, is that a thing? Like, like Valhalla, like if someone dies saying that. But I didn't even really know that much about Valhalla. searched it up, and it's apparently this mystic land that you, if you die as a warrior, like you just wake up every day and just go to war, right? That's what it is, and you die
It's
over and over
supposed to
again.
be like a paradise for the Vikings.
For
Yeah.
for warriors or just Vikings?
Um, I want to say specifically warriors, but probably like the because when you're a warrior, right, and you die in battle, it's an honorable thing. Then you go to Valhalla, and you feast, and then you fight, and it all repeats again and again. When you're an ordinary
Hmm.
person, you go to Helheim, which is their version of hell. But the thing is, Helheim is not like hell as it is for Muslims, where it's like, it's fire and you're there for your sins. It's actually a cold place and it's not a punishment. It's just regular people go there when they die. It's an interesting view of the afterlife.
Only warriors go to go to
Yeah,
heaven,
if you
where
die in
they.
battle or you die like an honorable death,
Hmm.
then you go to Valhalla. Or Freya's abode, Folkvanger. It's like
What's
another
that?
version of Valhalla.
Well, how's it different? Freya's there.
I think, yeah, she's there. Yeah. I think that's the highlight.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't even know who Freya is.
Yeah, she's a goddess, a Viking goddess. Interesting,
How'd you
like
get
all the
into
mythologies out
mythology?
there. Say that again?
How'd you get into mythology?
When I was a
Just
kid,
randomly.
when I was a
Hmm.
kid, my aunt, she took me to go watch the Percy Jackson movie when it came out in the movie theaters with my sister. And I loved it. A lot of the Percy Jackson book fans, they, hated it and they tore it apart. But I loved that movie as a kid. And I told my mom, like after watching the movie, like I want to get this
You
book, and she got me, one of the books, and I just fell in love since then, man. And like since a little kid, it kind of
read all of them?
surprises me myself. Yeah, more or less, and because he keeps
Yeah, I've
he's
read
putting
all of
out
them
more.
too.
Okay, you have. Oh, you're familiar with it.
When dude, when I was a kid, I loved Percy Jackson. And I think I did watch the movie, and it was kind of below par, I'd say, or whatever. But I honestly don't remember any of the stuff from Percy Jackson anymore because I read it when I was like I was a kid.
And
I
that's
loved it.
interesting because you
I
were in
read all of
Dubai.
them through.
Wow, you read
Yeah.
that in Dubai. Interesting how far like art can reach.
Oh yeah, Norse mythology. I'm sure, like, I mean, sure people read it in like Micronesia, but not Percy Jackson. Like Percy Jackson, it's not truly about Norse. Like, it's not truly following. Like, not everything in there is about Norse. Is like true of
Percy
Norse
Jackson
mythology, is
is
it?
is mostly focused on the Greek stuff, Greek mythology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cyclops, stuff like that.
Say that again?
Cyclops and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Percy Jackson, man. I think I'll watch the movie again just because you mentioned it.
They
Just
have
because
a
you mentioned
TV
it.
show coming out like that I've been watching
Yeah.
with my sister. It's cool. But yeah, man, mythology. I just think it's so interesting how many there are like around the world and just, fairy tale stuff. Like for example, I always tell my mom, like, Mom, you never told me there was an Urdu word for mermaid. Did you even know there's an Urdu word for
Yeah.
mermaid? I didn't know that
No,
until
I
like
know
last
that
year.
dude, there's a lot of mythology in Pakistan, in the north. Um, there's this whole TikToker that does like different like mythology
I'll
or
watch him.
yeah, it's more like folk. You've never watched one of his TikToks? Like anything
I
regarding the
see his
Pakistani
stuff on
mythology?
Instagram, and I've seen it was through him that I found out that
Yeah.
Jalpuri was the Urdu word for mermaid, but I never knew that was a thing.
Yeah, bro, but Pakistani mythology isn't as interesting. It's just like the creepy creature that lives in the forest.
The troll in the
Most of them
woods,
are.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But what about philosophy? Are you into that or no?
I found it really interesting, and I feel like sometimes people stamp me as a philosopher, but I don't see myself like that. I have an interest in reading, And if I find something
Yeah,
useful or cool, I'll talk to people about it, but that's about it. What about you?
not really. I did read about this philosopher, I'm blanking on his name, but he lived out of a barrel.
Ah, Diogenes.
Diogenes, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fact that when Alexander the Great, you know the story, right? When he went up to him, he was like, "Get out of my sunlight." That was very cool. I think it really just touched on the fact like the people that have the most, they can't even be fulfilled. They even the billionaires, they're all missing out on something. They're all missing out because you can't be everywhere. Even with infinite money, you can't be there for every great thing that's happening. So, but Diogenes is a whole different thing. He does. I don't think he wants any great things. His thing is not wanting anything is the greatest thing of all. But it's cool.
There,
It's
yeah. Now that you mentioned philosophy, there's this one thing that I loved hearing, and it was from Shah Rukh Khan actually. He said, "Don't be a philosopher before you're rich." And I loved that. And it kind of touches on what
really.
you were talking about because with
You think it's true?
Diogenes, I do believe it's true. And the whole thing with what you mentioned, Diogenes, he doesn't want stuff. He doesn't want to be materialistic. And I think there's something virtuous about that, about detachment, about not getting attached to things. But I think we live in a world where not everybody can be a philosopher. And as human beings, we have needs and necessities. And so I think I do agree with
Diogenes is
Charlotte.
definitely like an anomaly. Like dude didn't
Yeah.
want like shit. Like he was the first cynic.
You read some more stuff about him and you're like, damn, this is like crazy. Was he really doing this in public?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like he was true to the cause. Like he didn't just like think that was cool.
Yes.
Like he lived it. And my first like thought was, oh, is he trying to be like an animal or whatever? Is that like his whole philosophy? But it's not. I don't know if it is, but I don't really know what he was thinking. I think it's hard to tell what Diogenes was thinking, but I think his whole thing was to shit on other people that weren't trying to think or like had some sort of train of thought. And him and Plato, I think it was, that always were getting into it because all philosophers do they try to figure stuff out. Right? And Diogenes' whole thing was use. You can't like just the notion of trying to figure it out is makes you look stupid. But it was. Have you heard about when Plato? I think it was Plato. I might be wrong, but someone asked him like just describe humans in like 2 words, and he said featherless bipeds.
He said what?
Featherless bipeds. So bipeds means like anyone who walks on like 2 feet.
Oh my God.
And Diogenes, he came in while he was teaching everybody, and he threw down a featherless chicken, and he said, "Behold, Plato's human." So he like his whole thing was just like rejecting all forms
Mm.
of like kind of thought. But it doesn't lead you anywhere. It's cool, like, we'll think of you as a guy that like went against everything, but didn't really construct anything. But he had his moments, I guess, like standing up to Alexander the Great like that. Not many people
Yeah,
have done that.
that's a cool story. And I like what you said right there, true to the cause. Because I think at the end of the day, I would think that's what a lot of philosophers have to be, true to the cause. I I think there's definitely wisdom to be found among them, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's like, damn, I'm only so human. I don't know. I couldn't be Diogenes, I don't think. Some of the stuff I
No,
read, as I mentioned, is just like, oh, that's just too much. Too much.
that's true. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone is, no one looks at Diogenes and like, oh yeah, I want to be like this guy
You know
doing the stuff that he did.
exactly what you said right there. Nobody looks at a person like that and says, I want to be like that. There was this one therapist, he was talking about it the other day. I saw one of his reels and he's like, let's just, as human beings, everybody would like to be stronger. Everybody would like to be richer. Everybody would like to be more attractive. Nobody wants to be less attractive. Nobody wants to be weaker. Nobody wants to be in poverty. And I was like, yeah, come to think of it, as a basic human being, yeah, that's just so true.
Yeah, so that's what the other schools of thought think, like Plato and Aristotle and all these people. Like I think it was mainly Plato that everything has a perfect form, and our life is, kind of figuring out if we fit into any of these forms. And I don't know the rest of his philosophy, but that like he kind of captured that everything has like the perfect form of how we would like to think it is. And it's funny, like democracy in that time, if they would see democracy now, they would definitely know it was oligarchy. Because back in the day, like the common people used to go on a hill and actually like talk out what they thought. That was what democracy was. But now it's very different. But I guess you can't find a hill that big nowadays, right? With
Ah,
people or the scale. It's the scale. Even like all, I don't think. I guess people look at the Roman Empire because it was able to, manage kind of near the scale of how we live today, right? Big countries. But most philosophies, like the scale at which they operate, it's hard to, like democracy, it's hard to make it work for people that for such a big population because not everyone is able to express what they think. But I
it's
definitely
hard
want
to
to know about their
believe in
opinions on that.
democracy today. Like, one of my favorite video game franchises is Assassin's Creed. And in every single game, there are conspirators and conspiracies and secret societies. And things are not the way that they seem. And like that's every game without fail. And I think that's just like a mirror on life where there's just not I don't think there's a real democracy. And I don't even think
Assassins were
there's anything
Muslims?
controversial to say about that. Yeah, crazy, right?
Dude, yeah, they were actually Ismaili Muslim. I think they were like being persecuted, obviously by Sunnis, and their whole thing was like they would brainwash kids. Uh, this is like your whole objective in life is to like sneak up on this big elder and like kill him. And that's where and they were called like Hashashin. I never, because I clicked on this YouTube video that said Life of an Assassin, and he started talking about Ismaili Muslims. I'm like, it's like the wrong video. Like, what am I watching? But then I did some research and just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I
Yeah.
almost thought it was like a European thing.
Yeah, because that name is just that term is such a interesting term. But yeah, Hassan ibn Sabah, he was um he was a dude and it was kind of like his little cult. And you brainwash people, you drug them up, and then you make them experience paradise, and then you push them back into the harshness of the world. And you're like, if you want this again, you got to go out and do what we want you to
Really? Oh,
do.
he drugged them like to
Yeah,
get it.
so from what I understand, it was like he built like the stuff in Assassin's Creed. There's some realism to it where they had a
Mhm.
castle and it was like a built paradise, and there's women and there's just all kinds of pleasure. And so these people, they'd get like drugged up and they'd experience all this pleasure and it was beautiful and amazing. And then when that wears off, they throw them back into the real world. Like, hey, if you want to come back to this paradise, you got to do what we ask you to do. And so, little by little, you build this little cult, this army, and they go out into the Muslim world and they just kill whoever they kill. And yeah, that's what I understand of it. But I always thought it was interesting that that was a real thing because that was
Yeah,
1,000 years ago.
with I think we could recreate it now with like homeless people.
Have you heard about how like October is the worst month for the homeless?
What is that
Yeah,
thing?
like what ends up happening apparently is like that's when the most homeless in America go missing. And they say what happens is they get tricked by people and they're like, "Hey, we'll give you some food. We'll have like something good going on for you." They kidnap these homeless people and they become sacrifices for like these Satanist cults and stuff. Apparently, that's what they
Why in
say.
October?
Halloween.
No way, no shot. Really?
Yeah, yeah. I've heard it multiple times. I feel like it can't be unreal at that point. When you hear it so many times, it's like, maybe there's some truth to it.
Because it's Halloween? That's the reasoning?
Well, the month, you know, the
Yeah.
month of Halloween.
So some people instead of going trick or treating, that's their Halloween. It's picking up homeless people.
Yeah, and sacrificing them.
Insane. No, I never knew about that. No, I thought the worst month would be January because of how cold it is. But there was a deeper month.
Well,
But yeah, bro,
less
there's a lot.
dire consequences. The snow, the cold
The
wind.
snow. Yeah, bro. Yeah, and in Dubai, there's no homeless people.
Really? I feel like I
Yeah,
saw this like one indie movie about like this guy struggling for life in the outskirts of Dubai.
they just get kicked out.
I see.
Yeah, literally,
Outside of
that's
the
what happens.
paradise. Damn.
Yeah, that's how you
Damn.
maintain the paradise, I guess. But like, yeah, if you're unemployed, you're out of here. That's how they run it. New York City is the
Damn.
complete opposite.
That is
Like I'm
interesting. That's like if you're not a contributing member of society, you are gone. That's literally what Dubai is doing to you. Whoa.
literally what they're doing. And people come here, oh wow, there's no homeless people. Yeah, there's a reason. They were here, but now they're not. But
Wow.
when I see New York, like homeless people are kind of part of the culture. If you took the homeless people out of New York, it really wouldn't be New York.
Hmm.
Like I'd be on my way to school studying up, and homeless person just smoking straight crystal meth right next to me, and it's like 11 in the morning, and no one's phased by it. They might move to a different cart, but nothing, no consequences, nothing. So it's definitely interesting, bro. Like, I feel like if you take homeless people out of New York, it takes like the craziness out of New York.
It's wild you said that, the whole culture part, because one time I went to go feed the homeless in Houston with Outreach in the Barrio, and we went to this one homeless site, and this guy came up to us, shirtless and everything, and he's like, yo, like I'm undercover. I'm undercover. This is real. He's like, you got your phone? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, search this up right now on YouTube. And he showed us his YouTube channel, and he was legit. And he was actually an undercover guy. And he lives among the homeless to surveil what's going on. And I was just like, damn, that's happening like here in Houston. That must be going on everywhere where there's homeless. You got spies even among the homeless.
But the homeless aren't doing anything crazy for them to be spying on them.
Well, I guess maybe not spy, but like to monitor the situation,
Like
like what's going on
keep
out there.
uh, keep tabs on the homeless.
Yeah.
I wonder
But if you
what their
think about
logs
it,
look
right?
like.
Like in an age where like everything is digitalized and, it seems like people want more and more access to every single thing we do, the homeless would be a threat. Like, damn, maybe they don't have a place, maybe they don't have money, but what are they up to? We don't have anything on them. We need to see what they're up to.
There's this guy that he goes around like doing like a fake survey for homeless people, and then he just steals their identities and takes out like millions of dollars of loans. And basically, yeah, he basically does because they don't care. They don't care about their social or nothing. He gives them $20 and he's like, tell me your social security number. And in the end, he actually buys a phone in their name and frames them. So it's foolproof. Or like he doesn't get anything. He doesn't get any consequences. And then the homeless people, like he gives them a free phone too at the end of it. And I guess that's why they started having that guy be on like lookout. Like fine, he's maybe on the lookout for that guy. But bro, what's worse is the people that have you seen the guy that goes around and hangs like hands out like bottles and cigarettes to the homeless?
I have not. No.
No? Yeah, it's like giving back to the homeless, and then he's like giving out big alcohol bottles, and there's like cigarettes taped to them.
Oh, okay. I think I have seen one of these. Yeah.
And there's like a homeless guy grabs like four. I'm like, what do you need four for, bro? You're going crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Homeless are untapped. They're a whole market. If you think about it, with
They
no
really
money,
are.
but
They really are.
they
I
have an
feel like if
identity.
we end up in like a Hunger Games type of world, dystopian, they'd be like the people you want to join forces with. Like, yo, what are your secrets? How do you like stay off the radar or something like that?
Bro. They're definitely, like they have survival tactics. Living out without a home.
Dude, one time I was driving in the city late at night and I was sort of in this uh drab area. For the first time in my life, I saw a homeless person go to the bathroom. And I was like, damn, it just happened in front of me. But
Like
like,
in to the bathroom or
yeah, so it was like literally, I don't know, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And like just on the street, I saw the person just like kind of crouch and then pff, the whole thing. And I was like, damn, I just saw that. That's how it is. That's how it is out there. You just poop on the street.
not pretty. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
No, no toilet paper. No bidet is far from the ass.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting to think about how like we live in such a like advanced society, but they still use toilet paper. Like what?
Makes no sense. Like, and I don't know. I feel like if I try to like explain it, like,
They get
uh,
weirded out by that, right? They're like, "What do you mean?"
yeah, like, dude, I have a Japanese toilet. That thing's the best. Like, I don't even have to do nothing. Just use a little remote. I'm good to go. But it makes no sense. Like, I try to explain it. Like, if you get dog dog poop on your hand, how would you clean it? Would it be with the toilet paper or would you wash it off with water? They almost always say water. So, how's yours any different? But that's a good way to explain it to them, but they're in denial. No.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
It is. I guess to each their own, right? But I feel like if you do it for so long, right? Like you've got to get like some sort of like rash or disease or something.
Yeah. You remember Renee, right? And
Yeah, Renee.
after hanging out with the Muslims for so long, like I told him like, yo, like we clean ourselves. And he's like, he told me one time by himself, he's like, man, you have a point. Like, what am I doing with this toilet paper? So he had this phase where he started like buying wipes for himself. And he's like, dude, I'm like trying to get a bidet. I'm trying to get a bidet. I don't think that's happened till yet, but it opened his eyes. He was like, damn, I've been thinking about it, bro.
Oh, Renee. When are you gonna have him on the podcast?
I've
That's
already
the
had
man
him
I'm waiting
on.
for.
I've already had
You
him
have?
on. Yeah, but we need to do more with him because he's funny. He's funny.
Dude, Renee, I swear to God. I think he graduated too, right? Yeah, I remember he wanted to be like a school teacher, man. I need to get in touch with him. That was so cool on that road trip with him.
He remembers
But
you. Every time we recount a memory, he's like, yeah, Aladdin. I remember that guy.
Aladdin. Yeah. Dude, but hopefully I can, pull up to Houston sometime soon. But my family's always telling me, pull up to Houston, pull up to Houston, but it's tough, like with timing and this and that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it would be so fun.
yeah. I'm sure it would be. But Alyan, this has been a fun conversation, man. It really felt like a
Yeah.
proper podcast in the sense of like everything was just it was as natural as ever.
Yeah, bro. I feel like it was kind of meant to be. I just think how different it would have been, if we had done it 2 years ago. And I
Three
remember it
years
was
ago.
end of the 3 years ago, and it was
Yeah.
the end of the year, and you're like, you know what? I've finished it up for the end of the year.
You know what's
So
funny? You're the first episode for this year.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, because the last time we are about to do it, you're like, I'm booked up. I just did the last one. I think it was with your aunt for the year. And that's the reason we didn't do it. So you know what? It's perfect timing. God's timing is perfect.
Yeah.
But
That is true.
hopefully we can do part two, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. I always tell my guests, hopefully one day, inshallah, like an actual studio, like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Was that your inspiration, Joe Rogan?
He really was, because I just I love how Joe just talks to like everyone and anyone, and it's just
Yeah.
always an interesting conversation about, one thing or another. There's no limits, and that's just what he does. And I think
You
it's
keep
just
up with this
cool.
podcast?
Every now and again, when he has somebody on that I'm interested in, I'll watch the episode and I'll be like, yeah, that was a good episode. And I just
Yeah,
love how they shoot the breeze and it is what it is.
exactly. It's just he is a commentator, so that's kind of but in his podcast, it's never like he's like working, he's just talking to people and just searching up random bullshit on the internet and just talking about that. But yeah, bro, like I said, if there was anyone to do a podcast that I knew, like I was really glad that you had started because I feel like you actually like value conversation. If I can say, you're kind of like an old soul in that sense. Do you think you are old soul or
I've been told that. And I
yeah?
think it is, but I feel like I low key have I feel like my soul might be a Benjamin Button soul. Where it's like I'm trying to get younger and younger.
What's a Benjamin Button?
Like it's a movie where he's born as an
Movie.
old man, and then by the end of his life, he's like a baby. So it's like
I've
literally
heard about that.
everything's in reverse. Yeah. But like sometimes I feel
Uh,
like I have like a younger soul because I think music, for example, the type of music I've been listening to, I'm like, damn, I would never listen to this before. I was listening to like all the old stuff back in the day.
Now that I think about it, yeah, why did I even come up like recommend you that song?
I think he
The
just
one
played
about
it
the
for
Black
us.
Madonna song.
I think he just played it for us. And like,
Oh,
check
really?
this out, man. And then, yeah,
Oh, and then you liked it? Yeah, 'cause I was
yeah,
thinking about it. It was definitely, it's one of the, like when I heard that song, I was like, dude, I've never heard anything like this song. It's very different. Uh, like Tame Impala, when the first time I heard Tame Impala, I feel like he's a very different, like he's like his own genre kind of thing. But then again, all I really listen to is hip hop for the most part.
really,
Even in Dubai, bro, Travis Scott is very big in Dubai. They listen to a lot of Travis Scott. So when I came to Houston and my cousin was like, I actually went to high school with Travis Scott. It blew my mind. It's like
yeah. I feel
in
like
the
I know
UAE,
like a
you can't
handful of
even
people
like
that went to
breathe.
his high school.
Yeah, and I think he went to Elkins, or
I believe that
I'm
is
not
the
sure,
one.
but he
Yeah, I think
right
that's the one.
Elkins. Yeah, he went to Elkins, and it was crazy. Like I think when I had landed in Houston, and my uncle was telling me, "Oh, Beyonce used to live in our neighborhood." Like, oh, is this what America's like? Like living, right next to celebrities and all these big buildings. Because Texas also, going from because I lived in a small town in the UAE. It's a port city. So moving from there to Texas, where everything is so humongous and big, and the roads are 16 lanes, it was definitely crazy. And then with all the celebrity talk and this and that, I feel like I was in a whole different world. But you come to think of it, it's definitely cool. So that's why I think if I went somewhere else, I don't think it would be as perfect as Houston.
Yeah, no, Houston definitely has that charm about it. But yeah, thanks for showing me that song, man.
Glad you liked it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Do
yeah,
you
bro.
have any
Inshallah, if
closing
it's
thoughts,
you, come.
man? Anything you felt like you wanted to say, didn't get a chance to, or something on your mind you wanted to express?
Nothing really. What was it that you were like really nostalgic about? Was it college, or really were you having nostalgia about when you said that you had
It was
nostalgia about
specifically spring of 2023. That semester was such a beautiful semester. I met such incredible people. I just had a great time, and like the highs, the lows, they were all just so wonderful. You know, life really felt like amazing. And yeah, it was just great. And I was just holding on to that for so long. But I really just had to move on and realize, like, dude, that is the past. It does not exist anymore. We're here now. You know, things different. All you can do is just move on.
it? Yeah, yeah, bro. That's interesting. If you think about it, like the past and the future don't exist. All there is right, what it is now. Like if you just snap into it, this is all there is around you. Like all that stuff is in it's in your head. The past and the future, they don't exist. It's
Yeah.
just it's just what it is now. And when I first realized that, kind of clicked for me, it was crazy. But humans, that's how we live. We always go back into that thing about the past and worrying about the future and this and that. But yeah, bro, I'm glad that I got to talk to you today. And what is it? 2 in the morning.
In New York, it's 1 in the morning down here in
Yeah,
Texas. Yeah. Yeah, no, same
still
here.
got some
It
studying to
was
do.
it was it was nice speaking, man. It was good. And I always say like I feel like whenever I do sit down with the guest and we do it, that's the right time to do it. And it
Yeah,
felt like
that's
it here, you know. So I appreciate your time. I
it's
appreciate your
timing.
company. It was good.
Yeah, bro. Inshallah, if it's you come to New York or I come to Houston, I look forward to meeting you soon, inshallah.
Likewise, man. Inshallah. But until then,
Bro,
man, you take care, bro. Stay safe.
take care, bro.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, salam. One of the things I want to talk to you more about was sales. And it's not like I like sales necessarily, but I just realized like, damn, I just have so much experience with it where it just kind of feel like a second nature to be able to do it.
Did you like sales a lot?
I like the interacting with people and then them buying from me. And then it just like it didn't feel like work, if that makes
Did you
sense.
get did you get the sales high ever? I mean, I bet you
Always,
did,
always.
right?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
And did that make sense what I talked about with the solar coaster? Have you ever had that? Like when you're having sales, then life is just good, When you're in a slump, it was like everything's shit.
Not so much with sales, but in other parts of life. Like, for example, if you get a really good grade on a test, you're like, oh, this is great. And then you just don't study for the next one. And then you fail and you're like, oh my God, this sucks. So I know what you mean. Like, you want that happy medium of just stay there despite however you're doing and you'll be fine.
Yeah, staying in the middle. I think it was different for me because I was doing, I'd say, the most bare bones type of sales, right? We're all like flying out to an area. We're all living together, and all we're talking about and all we're living about is sales, like our day-to-day stuff. And it was definitely it taught me a lot. Like towards the end, I was regretting it, but the friend that I actually did it with, he kind of he was only doing it because of me, because I recruited him, and he was good at recruiting people, and he was good at sales too, but he was, struggling, whatever. Like I lost a lot of time. Really, like I could have done software engineering, what I was going to school for. But this dude dropped out of school for it. He left school and everything. But he was the one who talked to me. He's like, when he left, he all he would do was talk bad about it, And then I kind of got into the same thing, like, oh, sales is so bad. But then he told me, like, dude, you really learned a lot from traveling and seeing how big the world is, really, going all these different places. And in a day you would meet so many different people, and you were like, when you knock on that door, they have a whole life going on before you meet them. And with my type of sales, it was so different because I had to get garner their attention, build urgency, and build the need for this product that I was about to sell them, which is I did pest and I did solar. So it's definitely a big skill. You know? It's like going up to some random person and being able to spark conversation with them. And I thought that after, doing like 3 years of that, I'd be better at, doing that outside of sales. But it's it's still like you said, rejection always hurts. And I realized that just because you said it. But I still learned a lot going door to door. It was a challenge, but I'm thankful for
Yeah.
everything that I learned, all the different people that I saw. And bro, people like I told you, people, this is the best sale I actually ever had was when I got a $60 haircut and I looked the best I feel like I have ever looked. And I got two sales right after that. And the second one, it was like a dream. Like I knocked on their door and it was like a family having a gathering and they treated me like I was invited to that thing. Like they really I just walked in, I'm talking to grandpa, grandma, and they're all like, hey, like, how are you doing? Oh, would you like something to eat? Um, and they're like, hey, meet him. This is Alyan, like to their family. And I'm like, dude, is it the haircut or like what's going on? And then I sold them and I sold their brother that was there at that event. And it was so crazy. Even like I was sitting in the backyard with grandpa and grandpa's telling me and they're talking to me like I'm family. Like she was like, grandpa's he's old man, but he's still like on his old tricks and this and that. And then he's like, I'm closer. And he said something along the lines of, I still take that medicine. And he was talking about weed. And he's like telling me how he still smokes weed and that's what gives him calm. He's like trying to connect with me. It's fucking grandma. He's not talking
He's
to
trying
anyone
to
else.
connect with me.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is going on? And dude, it was such a great sale. I left like after that, I didn't even knock another door. I was like, dude, my day is
Whoa.
complete. So,
Whoa.
sales, that's, I feel like one of the peaks that I remember from sales.
One of the things, and I think this connects to a lot of the things we're talking about. When I quit my first job ever, they mistreated me quite a bit, and I
Where?
recognized it and I knew it. It was at a suit store, and it was the deep end of the pool, right, of sales. And so I had a lot of experience. I'm very grateful for all that experience, but at the same time, they were abusing me as a worker. And I noticed that, and it made me very angry. And, despite all the times I tried to communicate that with them, it just go in one ear and then exit out the next. So eventually, at some point, I quit and I started working somewhere else. And it was so much better. And I wasn't
Yeah,
abused. And I realized how I wasn't crazy. I was it like all my requests were never big asks. They were just normal. And I always knew that inside. And so the point of that experience was I became the frog that left the pond, as they say in Urdu, the frog that leaves
mm,
the pond. And I realized the world is so much bigger. And I feel like your story really it it demonstrates that because you
yeah,
traveled so much and you were the frog that left the pond. You've left so many ponds and you've seen things. And I
yeah.
feel like it's also connected to the past. The past is also a pond. Once you leave, you realize the future is so much bigger, God willing, and back there it's just small and you don't want to go back there anymore.
It's a gamble, bro. Like I definitely like it's you don't know what the next pond has for you. It might be worse than the last pond, but you grow a lot. You grow a lot. You know, putting yourself into the deep end and just having things figure themselves out. Eventually, it's up to you to figure it out because you can be in New York City, the
Everybody
the
has to be
most
their own
lively.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
You got to figure
I've
it out
never,
for
I've,
yourself.
I haven't watched a lot of Tom Cruise movies, but
Yeah. Well, the point being, like, he's always like on it. He's like, I'll figure it out. Everybody just has to figure it out for themselves.
is he most known for what is it? The Top Gun? No, I think what you
Yeah,
mean.
that
But
one, Mission Impossible, Last Samurai, um, Vanilla Sky. There's a bunch of movies.
watch none of those. Crazy
Yeah.
work. I mostly watch like Marvel or whatever. But point
He was
being,
supposed
yeah,
to be
bro,
Iron Man.
it's really.
Yeah. Or he was in talks, or they wanted to get him as Iron Man.
I'm glad
Right.
they didn't. Robert Downey Jr. is a perfect. I feel like if someone was a perfect actor for a perfect role, it would be Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man. I think you can find it. Just like Harry Potter, the kid that played Harry Potter. I don't even know his name because he played Harry Potter so well. But point being, bro, like gotta I guess do different things, whatever. It's tough, this and that. But
I wanted to
at the end
touch
of the
up a
day,
little
figure
bit
it
on
out.
the rejection. It never goes away, right? Like that, the feeling bad. But in your experience, how'd you deal with it? How did it not hurt so much?
In the beginning, it hurt like it hurts a lot, and it gets easier if you're into it. Like if you do it for a week, you're good. But then you take a break for a couple months, come back, hurts just like the first time. So it's practice. It's it's when you knock 100 doors a day, it doesn't matter what the 101st door says. You've heard it 100 times. So it really is practice. So
Yeah. I think it's so interesting that you were a door-to-door salesman because anytime those people visit me, I'm like trying to pretend like I'm not home. I don't want
yeah,
to open that
exactly.
door.
I had to deal with that all the time, dude. Like you don't even know if the person's gonna open the door, let alone, you get a
Yeah.
chance to pitch them. So we used to
Yeah.
account for that. Like the amount of doors you knock only count if someone comes out and talks to you. And it like, being the annoying salesman, it's so tough. I hated my life. And I was like, my first like week, I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm definitely not gonna make it through the whole summer. But then when I made it through the whole summer, I had so much respect for myself. I felt like I could do anything. I felt like I could, if I really wanted to, I could put my mind to anything and I could finish it out. And the consistency, and I enjoyed it, dude. My first summer, it was one of the best summers of my life. I had a lot of great people. And actually, the person that recruited me is the friend that passed away. I
Damn.
look up. Yeah, I don't know if you heard of him. He actually went to U of H and he
I did.
drowned.
He drowned. You told me about this. Yes. I
Yeah,
do remember him.
Omer. Yeah, it
And
was,
I think
dude.
no, I shook hands with him once too. I remember he tried to
Yeah,
recruit me actually. I remember this now. Yeah. I do remember him. He was nice in that encounter I met him. He was cool. He gave me his number
dude.
and
He
stuff.
was he was such a nice guy, and he had recruited like the team. It was me, and there was like another girl that like I think like she had special needs, and then there was another Indian guy that just come from India. Like he didn't speak any English, and like that was like basically like people that no one would really believe in, but he believed in us, and he like taught us, and he would work like with the Indian dude. He would sit with bro like all day and like just believe in him. Like, no, bro, you got this. Like, pitch me again, try again. Like he would never give up on the guys that he recruited. Like all the other guys would just recruit like you know people that had experience or people that would definitely do well at the job, like guys. But he recruited people that were kind of, rough around the edges, and he really believed in them. And it was really sad to, when because he went missing for like 3, 4 days, and then they found him at the bottom of the lake. So it was really tough. But I go on his Instagram, and there's a lot of people like, hey man, I miss you. You believed in me. You're a really cool guy. Wish you were here. So
Do you
it's
remember your
crazy with how a lot.
last interaction with him?
Not really, bro. It was a long time. I mean, one of the last ones was or when I left Nashville, we just had like champagne bottles that we popped open together. To, just because we finished the summer off. But no, it was like 3, 4 years ago. Honestly, I don't even
Damn.
remember like what my last time was with him. But he was a great guy. He was Houston native. But I met a lot of cool people through him, and I think one of the reasons the summer was so special was because of him.
Damn. And he was still in school, right, when that happened?
He had quit school to do the door-to-door thing full time, and he was making great
Whoa.
money. So
Whoa.
his parents were like hounding on him. They're like, "Bro, what are you doing with your life? This and that." But that summer, actually, he didn't do that well, but he's still gonna come back and do it the next summer.
I do remember meeting him. That's wild. I
You
remember
met
that
him
that
at the
happened
stand, the
at the
table,
stand in the student center. I remember. He was
bro.
nice. He
It's
gave me his
crazy.
number. He was cool in that one
Yeah,
encounter.
dude. I was going to the Sugarland show, and I missed it because I was reading his sign. So I went back. I'm like, I missed the bus. Might as well see why I missed the bus. And his thing said like make 20 grand in the summer. And I definitely didn't make 20 grand that summer, but it was cool, going out there and doing everything with sales. But it's crazy if I hadn't gone up to that table, things would be very different. I would have dedicated like 3 summers to sales.
Crazy how the tiniest thing can just change so much.
Like a
Like a
butterfly.
text message, you just hit me up and eventually we're here now.
Exactly. And speaking of, probably get back to studying. It's 2:30.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you, man. But it was good
It's been
talking.
great.
It was good talking.
It's great, bro. We should do it again, even if it's not a podcast or whatever. Maybe me, you, Renee, it would be cool. Leif too. It would be
That'd be
cool to catch
cool.
up.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe do a duo podcast, me and Renee.
Yeah. We could try that, man.
Inshallah, bro. Take
All
care.
right,
Assalamu
man.
alaikum.
Take care. Good luck studying. Mom's home.